Welcome to Special Topics in Financial Management. My name is Mrs. Jo Enrica Mora de Limsay, and I am excited to discuss to you our second topic, which is multinational financial management. You probably have heard of the brands Colgate, Palmolive, Hewlett-Packard or HP, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Citibank. And you know what their common denominator is? Lahat sila nanggaling sa US manufacturers. Would you believe that they actually sell a lot of their products and services outside the United States, knowing that they are US manufacturers? Almost 20% of their revenue comes from the foreign sales. This is the new trend in financial management, and later we'll identify the reasons on why they want or these foreign companies want to go global. Successful global companies such as Coca-Cola must conduct business in different economies, and they must be sensitive to the many subtleties of different cultures and political systems. Different folks, different strokes. So may kanya-kanya at may iba't iba tayong paniniwala or kultura at iba't ibang sistema. Accordingly, they find it useful to blend into the foreign landscape to help win product acceptance and avoid political problems. At the same time, foreign-based multinationals are arriving on American shores in ever greater numbers. Sweden's ABB, Netherlands' Philips, France's Thomson, and Japan's Fujitsu, also Honda, are all waging campaigns to be identified as American companies that employ Americans, nagtatransfer ng technology sa mga Amerikano, tumutulong sa trade balance. The emergence of world companies raises a host of questions for government. For example, should domestic firms be favored, or does it make no difference for a company's nationality as long as it provides domestic jobs? Number 2, should a company make an effort to keep jobs in its home country, or should it produce where total production costs are lowest? Another question, what nation controls the technology developed by a multinational corporation, particularly if the technology can be used in military applications? Another question is that, must a multinational company adhere to rules imposed in its home country with respect to its operations outside the home country? Is it necessary? And if a US firm such as Xerox produces copiers in Japan and then ships them to the United States, should they be reflected in the trade deficit in the same way as Toshiba copiers imported from Japan? So all of these questions will be answered in this chapter. But first, let us define multinational or global corporation. It is a firm that operates in an integrated fashion in a number of countries. When you talk about multinational or global corporation, it's fully integrated in terms of its operation. So nag-uumpisa ito sa pagkuha ng raw material or what you call extraction of raw materials, papunta sa manufacturing process, all the way to distributing the products or the services to the consumers throughout the world. Let us try to identify the 7 primary reasons why companies in both United States and foreign go global. First, they seek production efficiency. What does this mean? It means that competition increases in their marketplace as well as the demand increase in other markets. Therefore, the companies evaluate where it is best to produce their products. So this happens in all multinational or global corporations. And most of the time, it depends on the following factors. First, production process. So this production process turns inputs such as our raw materials into the outputs, which is the final product or service of what you are trying to offer to the customer. Another factor to consider is the availability of labor with the requisite skills or the needed skills on that company. As you know, without skilled workers, the corporation or the employees cannot produce these goods or services. So that is very important. Next, the adequacy of transportation infrastructure. Why is transportation important in the development of a corporation, a multinational corporation to be specific? Efficient transportation reduces cost in many ways, while inefficient transportation cost increases these costs. Okay? So transportation provides and improves facilitating a wide range of interaction, social interaction. Okay, so that transportation is a common tool for development in a specific country. Also, companies that operate in high-cost countries have strong incentives to shift production to lower-cost regions. So these are the factors to consider by multinational corporations when they try to seek production efficiency. Another reason is for them to avoid political, trade, and regulatory hurdles. Governments sometimes impose tariffs, quotas, and other restrictions on imported goods and services. For example, tariffs reduce the importation of goods. It protects the domestic producers. So the reason why quotas and tariffs are present or being imposed by the government is to protect, or it is used as a protective measure to try control trade between countries. As you know, companies prefer a riskless environment and stable in terms of its politics. There is what we call political risk. This refers to the risk that the host country will make political decisions that prove to have adverse effect on corporate profits or goals. So they are directly affected when there are political instability or uncertainty. The third reason is to broaden their market. After a company's home market matures and competition becomes more intense, growth opportunities are often better in foreign markets. So this is where they try to broaden their markets. An example of this is Jollibee. As you know, Jollibee has been a dominant market leader in the Philippines for a long time already. And now, imagine Jollibee has already branched out in 12 United States. Okay? There are different states and other Canadian provinces also. So they have already branched out or broadened their markets. So they're a perfect example of this, number 3. Another example or another reason on why they choose to go global is to seek raw materials and new technology. Supplies of many raw materials that are important for industrial societies are geographically dispersed. So companies must go where the materials are found, no matter how challenging it may be to operate in some of the locations. An example of this is the major deposit of oil. Yes, oil are perfect examples of these. They are located on the northern coast of Alaska, in Siberia, and in the deserts of the Middle East, all of which present unique challenges. And this is why many U.S. oil companies, I don't know if you've heard ExxonMobil, it's one of the U.S. oil companies. They have major production facilities around the world to ensure access to the basic input resources needed to sustain the company's primary business line. Another reason is to protect the secrecy of their processes and products. Firms often possess special intangible assets such as brand names, technological and marketing know-how, managerial expertise, and superior research and development. Research and development is a crucial component of innovation. So companies invest every year significant amount on research and development activities, mainly because they want to grow their business or they want to develop new products and services. For example, Coca-Cola, their ingredient for building the right amount of taste for their soda is probably perfect because customers have been entertaining and have been buying their products for a long time already.
So for Coca-Cola to protect their formula, they built bottling plants and distribution networks. So they've invested and capitalized on these in foreign markets, but imports the concentrate or syrup required to make the product from the United States. So in the 1960s, Coca-Cola faced strong pressure from the Indian government to reveal its formula. Probably the Indian government are very curious on on the formula of the Coca-Cola. And rather than revealing its formula, Coke withdrew. Umalis sila. Okay? They withdrew its operations from India until the foreign investment climate improved. And up until now, if you'll notice, Coca-Cola is still here. They're still surviving. Okay, we move to the next, which is their goal is to diversify. So number 6 is to diversify. Diversification was already discussed from our previous chapter. So diversification allows for more variety and options for products and services. If done correctly, this diversification provides a tremendous boost. It improves the brand image and the company profitability, which is the main goal of any multinational or global corporation. So diversification can be used as a defense system. Okay? So by diversifying products or services, a company can protect itself from competing companies. One example of these was General Motors. Back then, they had a serious problem in terms of their sales in the United States because of a recent recession. Pag recession naman talaga, bagsak lahat. Okay? But you know what? In the United States, they were having problems, but in the European subsidiaries, they have strong sales. Also, oil companies were able to weather the recent disruption in Venezuelan oil production by increasing production in Mexico and elsewhere in the world. Okay, so these are examples of diversification. And the last reason why company choose to go global is to retain customers. If a company goes abroad and establishes production or distribution operations, it will need inputs and services at these new locations. So it can obtain what it needs from a single supplier that can also operate in the same set of countries. There are 5 major differences between a multinational and a domestic financial management. The first one is difference in currency denominations. There's also political risk. The third one, we do have economic and legal ramifications or changes. Fourth is role of governments. And the last is language and cultural differences. Now, we go to the international monetary system. First, let us define what international monetary system is. It is the framework within which exchange rates are determined, and because exchange rates are a function of the supply and demand for various national currencies, the international monetary system is also the blueprint for international trade and capital flows.